Welcome to the UFO Show. In this installment, we hear from retired Air Force vets who personally encountered UFOs. We look at dashcam footage of a mysterious light in the sky, and we hop aboard a cargo plane that finds itself joined by an unexplainable visitor.
Shooting star, but then it stopped.
Let's get to it. On October 19th, 2021, a small group of retired Air Force officers held a press conference at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., in an attempt to further open the eyes of the human race to the existence of UFOs. Pretty cool way to start, huh? Led by retired Captain Robert Salas, who for years has been telling his stories of close encounters with unidentified objects, the group shared jaw-dropping recollections for a little over 2 hours. Tales of UFOs shutting down nuclear missiles and hovering over Air Force bases. The veterans are hoping this will further push the UAP task force in Washington to investigate the phenomena, which has increasingly been in the national spotlight these last couple of years. Said Salas, in the coming days and months,
I think we'll all have to deal with this reality because there is abundant and sober evidence, past and present, for the reality of
unidentified aerial phenomena. So what is Salas's story? On March 24th of 1967, Salas was the on-duty commander of the Malmstrom Air Force Base's underground launch control facility in Montana. At some point during the night, a glowing orange craft appeared near the gate of a missile silo, which caused 10 intercontinental ballistic missiles to simultaneously become inoperable. Such a shutdown was deemed impossible by Salas, because all 10 of the missiles were running on independent systems. Thank you for watching the UFO Show, and I ask that if you enjoy our shows, subscribe to our channel right now, like this video, and click on the bell so you can be notified each time a new video goes up. Now back to the show. Salas's account is far from the only one. Deputy Missile Crew Commander Jerome C. Nelson saw UFOs emit light beams toward the missile silo he was stationed at during the winter of 1963. Nelson said, "While I was on alert duty in the launch capsule at Atlas Site 9, west of Roswell, my topside security guard called me on the telephone and reported an extremely bright light. That is, a fully illuminated, round-shaped object was hovering silently over the missile site and shining a spotlight down onto it. I could tell he was serious, and his voice revealed he was frightened. After 5 minutes, the object left the vicinity." In 1966, then Air Force Captain David Schindel witnessed a UAP surveying the Minot Air Force Base missile field in North Dakota. The object, which he claims was 800 to 100 feet wide, wandered around the base for several minutes before taking flight and disappearing in a flash. Schindel claims several guards were also party to the incident, which scared them to death. Similar to Salas's encounter, 10 missiles all went offline while the object was hovering over them. "I waited 40 years before I opened my mouth, and that's a long time," Schindel said. "I had this terrible secret on my mind for all that time, and I felt such great relief to finally admit to my friends and close relatives what I experienced in the Air Force." But there's more. In 1964, then Air Force First Lieutenant Robert Jacobs was stationed at the Vandenberg Air Force Base in California when he saw something extraordinary. During the test firing of a dummy warhead, a UAP flew up to the missile in the sky and examined it, shining a beam of light on it. It went around the top of the warhead, fired a beam of light down on the top of the warhead, Jacobs said, then flew out of the frame the same way it had come in. Jacobs went on to say he was part of the cover-up to keep the story from getting out, and that footage of the incident was taken by mysterious men who told him not to talk about what happened. There are plenty more stories like these, and the men who've been holding on to these secrets for decades are hoping their accounts reach Congress and spur them to take UAPs even more seriously than they already do. As to why these events might have occurred, Salas's answer is pragmatic. "I think it was simply a message to all of us on planet Earth that we need to rid ourselves of nuclear weapons." Food for thought, folks. The entire press conference can be found on Bob Salas's YouTube page. It's worth your time if you want to hear some very serious men discussing this very out there topic. Video footage of a curious event in Canada has just been unearthed. Footage that might be showing us an honest-to-goodness UFO. In April 2011, in the Canadian province of Manitoba, a Canadian policeman's dashcam camera is on and records a rather interesting sight. A glowing ball streaks across the sky. The object catches the unidentified officer's eye, prompting him to move his car and get a better look at the object, even moving the dashcam so as to follow its trajectory. This incident was reported to air traffic controllers in Winnipeg, who then passed on the information to the North American Aerospace Defense Command, better known as NORAD. Also alerted was the Civilian Aviation Daily Occurrence Reporting System, or CADORS, which monitors aviation incidents reported by Canadian pilots and military personnel. While CADORS cannot identify the object, it was proven not an airplane. The case never amounted to much and remains open. Hence, Vice News just got their hands on the actual footage of the incident, their source being a frustrated former employee of CADORS, who obtained the footage from the policeman in question. And while the policeman, the Canadian military, and Transport Canada all declined to speak with Vice, perhaps a picture speaks louder in this case. UAP experts in Canada that Vice spoke to didn't have definitive answers for what they were seeing. One thought perhaps a lantern, another thought maybe a chartered plane. No one can say for sure what it is. While the US seemingly leads the way in UFO sightings on this spinning orb of ours, don't sleep on Canada. A report published by Vice in June of 2021 revealed that the country has been dealing with UFOs for nearly 70 years. The Canadian military decided to standardize UFO reporting in 1953 because of all the alleged sightings being reported at that time. Intriguingly, a defense spokesperson told Vice Canada's forces, quote, "do not typically investigate sightings of unknown or unexplained phenomena outside the context of investigating credible threats, or potential distress in the case of search and rescue." I don't know, Canada. Maybe you'd better get on the bandwagon and start investigating. The UAPs aren't going away. In fact, they're being seen all the time. Here's another possible sighting. This time, the view comes from 37,000 feet in the sky. A FedEx cargo plane was flying from Mexico to Tennessee when the pilots noticed something on the left side of the plane. A yellowish orb that descended into view from above before stopping suddenly. At first, the pilots believed it was another airplane that was headed toward them, prompting them to prepare for evasive maneuvers. The plane had a beam of light projecting their way at first, but before they could really start panicking, the beam of light went off and the flying object appeared to fly in tandem with them as opposed to heading their way. The captain of the plane then considered the possibility it was a shooting star, but that didn't really explain the object's trajectory. The idea that it was a weather balloon was batted away thanks to the fact they were 37,000 feet up and moving at approximately 575 miles per hour. It's also worth noting this object did not appear on the captain's radar. The object then began to flicker and change colors before the pilots lost it in the clouds. It should be said that the captain of the plane is a career pilot with 19 years experience, while the co-pilot is a former fighter pilot who used to fly F-15s. Both are considered competent airmen, capable of determining normal observations and incidents from unusual ones. Some notable skeptics say the object is actually the planet Venus, its glow being distorted by the window and the focus of the camera. But the pilots maintain they saw this unusual dot and its odd movements with their own eyes. As usual, we'll leave it to you to decide. Are we just seeing a trick of the light? Or are we witnesses to a genuine UAP encounter? That's it for now, folks. The truth is out there, somewhere, and we're going to be keeping an eye on things for all you true believers. And if you have anything to share with us, don't hesitate to send us an email at ufoshow@joeblow.com. We're eager to hear from all our fellow UFO and outer space enthusiasts. Also, please share your thoughts and any cool extraterrestrial news you have in the comments section. Finally, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, as we're going to be your one-stop shop for all things alien going forward. Until next month, keep watching the skies.